All right. So we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you guys for checking in. So before we start off, if you hate the algorithm as much as I do, hit the like button. Definitely jump in the comments. All comments will be on the screen, so I make you guys as part of the conversation as we are. Also, once again, welcome to the Head Up Podcast. This is where we interview independent artists and really anybody that's doing anything independent. And for all the new and up and coming artists who want some inside information, maybe some tricks and trade. So thank you guys again for joining in. So tonight, I have my guests. They're all the way from Des Moines, Iowa. So
Yes, sir.
shout out to Late Street. How we doing, guys?
How we doing? We're doing all right, man. Thank you for having us. Yeah,
Definitely.
Des Moines, Iowa. Iowa's the homestead in Lake Street, Deuce Block, Midwest.
Definitely Midwest. We're getting it out here.
That's what's up, guys. So we got Freitas. First comment tonight. All right, let's kick it up.
John?
So let's kick it in, man. So how did you guys get started in music?
In music, well,
this goes back a long time.
It does go back a long time. I'm gonna start it off pretty basic here, and then let him take it a step farther back. I mean, we both got into music separately. I'll say that. And we both had a past of it. No matter what, I got heavily into hip hop at a very young age, and just been doing it since I was probably about 12, 13 years old. And I'll let him tell a little bit about his side real quick.
So,
and then
I started
meet in the middle.
I started off when I was like super young in like 5th grade. Started with my first band, like a wannabe metal band. You know how we did it back in the day. And then grew into playing for a lot of punk rock bands around Iowa and Fort Dodge. And then eventually I started getting kicked out of bands because I was really wild. I was
rambunctious.
You know, I am that guy. I get wild and I fucking have a lot of fun where I'm at. And whatever. I ended up getting kicked out of my band. It was called the Bedspins at the time. And they actually got an offer to play a show, and James was like, dude, I've never really like played a show like this. Would you?
So yeah, we were opening up for.
Would you want to come play a show with me? And I was like, hell yeah,
it was
definitely.
Boondocks at the House of Bricks when that was a thing in Des Moines still. So we were opening up for Boondocks with Psychopathic Records at the time, and we're like, hey man, we need a hype man. Feel free to come along with us. And when he had one song or about 2 songs we did at the time,
we had
just kind of jumping on some hip hop shit. Ethan was, and from there it was just kind of game over. And then the third member of Late Street ended up kind of fizzling out, and Ethan kind of took the spot over here, and it's been Late Street on Deuce Block ever since.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
What would you say your influences are musically?
Oh, everything.
Yeah, that is a hard question to get.
I mean, as far as musical, musical influence, I was heavily influenced by the Rhymesayers growing up, Atmosphere, Brother Ali, all them. With this guy here, as just young age, before we got into music together, we were best friends, skateboarding, and all that shit. So he showed me a lot of Slipknot, Nirvana, and stuff like that. And then I'd say to round it all off for me is just growing up with my dad and his bands and shit, and just being introduced to the Metallicas, the Motley Crues, Leonard Skinner, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Like for me, it was like I grew up totally in classic rock, and then my dad was really like progressive with a lot of different music. So he was like, check this out, and handed me like the first Slipknot album in like 5th grade. And so I was like, oh shit, this is insane. And so then I like grew even further down that line for a long, long time. And then I met my homie, actually John Forbes, and he introduced me to like some Brother Lynch hung. And I was like, oh shit, like Brother Lynch is crazy.
Yeah.
And so then it was like Brother Lynch and the Wu-Tang, like Ghostface and Raekwon, a lot of that East Coast influence for me, and then a lot of that down south, like with Goody Mob and Outkast as well. That's where a lot of my shit came from, and just like the crazy patterns I come up with, and just like the flamboyant character that I ended up to become. It's just crazy. Yeah, just be jumping out like shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, okay, so I have to ask this. Okay, so being a fan of Slipknot, and you guys live in the city that they grew up in, I'm sure I'm not the first one to ask you this. Were you guys around when they were just a local band, or
I can't say for my age that I was like around and in the scene. No,
Yeah.
my I've recorded some stuff, and he's recorded some stuff at Junior Studio out in Otho, which is where they recorded their first album.
Oh wow.
So we've touched some home base there a little bit,
but then like I've also, when I played in a metal band, I've played with a band. Sean Crahan was managing at the time, called Murderer Crows, and I actually played a show with them and met him then. And that was like after around Subliminal Verses era, like right in between there. And yeah, that was really fucking cool. So, and then
we weren't there for the roots, but we've definitely rubbed some elbows. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. Yeah, I was always kind of curious because about that because I'm in Tulsa, and Hanson and Garth Brooks and Carrie Underwood are kind of like the most mainstream.
Yeah,
that come out
of here, and then there's Hinder.
Hinder,
yeah, there's a few.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few.
Hinder.
Yeah, they came out of Oklahoma City. There was in the 90s. Actually, the first rapper to make it out of Tulsa was Player 1000.
Oh, right on.
Okay.
And like in the late 90s, he still lives here, and he still does like a lot in the community.
Yeah.
But it's him, and then Johnny Polygon. He was from here as well. And he did a mixtape with DJ Green Lantern, and he was featured on Nas's self-entitled album. It was a song Black President. So he did a lot of indie touring. So that's kind of as far as I guess the famous musicians that come from your city and state. Those are kind of the ones that we have. There's a few others I just can't think off the top of my head.
As far as artists, yeah, I mean, we had Slipknot, and it hasn't really been anybody since. That's why, I mean, Late Street, we're out here literally. That's kind of the motive is to put on for Iowa like it's never been done since, and that's definitely the goal.
There was I was told, and I don't know this for a fact. It was just something I've heard, but I heard that Crooked I was actually born in Tulsa. I actually knew his cousin.
Okay.
I'm not real sure if they're like straight cousins or if it's like second cousins or whatever, but I do know they're related. And but I just heard from the grapevine that Crooked I was actually born here. I just don't know that for an actual fact.
Right.
Just one of those things you hear. But yeah, man. Certain like bands and artists who like made it like in the industry, so to speak, and then they come from your city. I think it's kind of one of the most slept on inspirations that we can all have,
And then I've also done some photography and been backstage with their son's band, Vended, Corey's son's band, Griffin and Simon. They're fucking very talented musicians, and they put on one hell of a show. And just seeing that again is just like another thing. It's like, man, it's right fucking there, and the scene's opening up here so much more than it's ever been.
Yeah,
a lot more interaction. So it's just like, hopefully we just keep doing our thing, count our blessings, make sure that we're making all the right moves. Hopefully it will pay off eventually. On top of staying on top of everything that we're doing. Like you said, it is one of the most inspiring things to see, and to be able to see these people working with these people and growing alongside these people. That's also a really cool thing to see as well.
Definitely. So you guys got some stuff coming on. So obviously we have a purpose for this podcast interview outside of just some pretty cool music conversations. So you guys are about to go on tour, right?
Correct. In fact, this is the actual announcement. So what's up, Doozy? What's up, man?
Shit, Doozy. Okay.
That's our guy right there.
Almost forgot to tell you, I've been to Des Moines on a couple tours. Lefties. Doozy was on both shows. True Eddie, if you guys know him.
Yeah, True Eddie.
He's actually, True Eddie actually made a cameo in our latest music video, Plug Knock. You'll see True Eddie in there.
I was really impressed with his following that he had, because he said he hasn't been doing music very long.
No, we were impressed with the same thing, man.
Yeah.
That's how we met up with them.
Yeah, so man, I forgot to. Des Moines is actually one of my favorite cities to tour in. I tell every tour mate of mine.
Shout out.
515. Yeah, Freitas was on the road with me, so yeah, he did Lefties as well when we came through Des Moines. But yeah, I love the city. I love every time I tell everybody come to Kong's Pizza.
Yeah,
and Chinese pizza. It's probably one of the best ideas. And I'm trying to think. I think it was if I think High Life. They have their own lounge and they have kind of like a brewery, like a restaurant.
Yeah.
You're talking about oh shit, Firehouse is what I want to say it is,
No,
but
that's like a
maybe
shop, bro.
there's
I know, but it's fuck, dude. I know what you're talking about. It's not High Life, but I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's something like High Life Lounge, but they have is like a small little bar, but it's inside like a brewery restaurant. I can't remember.
You're talking about El Bait Shop, High Life and El Bait Shop. That's what it is.
Yes,
They have 220 something beers on tap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to
and I think they had
actually.
they had a $80 beer, and I remember asking them. I think my tour mate at the time, it was Freitas, Roach, and Patch Flowers, and then Patch was asking him like, "So how good is this beer if it's like $180 or $100?"
Yeah, like
if you ask me, not that good, but
that's like Wagyu steaks, like $80, you know.
Yeah,
ribeye. Yeah, that's an expensive steak.
No, but I'm definitely familiar. High Life, and El Bait Shop are connected. That's the spot to go downtown for sure. It's right across from the Cubs Stadium over there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to go back on the tour real quick though, speaking of Des Moines, that's actually where we're ending the tour. We'll be Des Moines Lefties. Lefties kind of became our home away from home last year. We played there so much on our own and opening up with acts such as Struggle Jennings, Riff Raff, and King ISO and all them. But yeah, so we're launching the tour 6/24, June 24th. We're launching the tour, and that'll be up in Minneapolis. It's Off the Cliff tour. And that's with 93 and Alive Productions, presented by Deuce Block Clothing. So yeah, we're excited.
ATM. Yeah, I work with him too. He does a lot of my tour dates as well,
and he does a great job, man. Shout out to ATM.
Yeah,
for real. So we're excited, man. This is actually our debut announcement of the tour. We haven't said anything about it, so when this goes, what's live right now, but after this, we're gonna be sharing the shit around so everybody can find out about the tour as well. What states are Lake Street hitting on tour? Doozy, yeah. So to answer your question, man, we will actually go into that right now. I got the flyer pulled up. Like I said, first stop will be the Freight Room in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that's June 24th. And then from there, we'll be going to South Dakota, right outside of Sioux Falls at the Phoenix Lounge.
Hey, shout out.
And then from there, we're going to Omaha, Nebraska at the Shakedown Street Tavern. That'll be our second time there. And then Topeka, Kansas, the Booby Trap as well. And then we'll be rounded off back home to Des Moines, Iowa.
And hopefully we're actually trying to get some spots up in Okoboji too right now. We're trying to weave some of them other dates in right now.
He says, are we coming down to Tulsa? To be honest, man, we would love to, and we're more than willing to add dates. We are all about adding dates. Right now, we have these set in stone. Like he said, we're looking at a few more. So, I mean, it's all an open book.
Well, we'll talk after the podcast because I was actually going to definitely invite you guys. So whenever you're coming through to Tulsa, man, I got you.
Hell yeah. Right.
We're all about it. All about it. Yeah, and then shit. One more thing before we get into the real business, I guess, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
DeuceBlockClothing.com. That is our website. It is our hub where you can find everything Lake Street, everything James Tyler, and everything Ethan Kane. We just dropped a new merch line, the Deuce Block series. I got the hoodie on right here. We got the hats, beanies, dad hats as well, shirts, sweatpants. We got a whole jogging suit to go with it as well. And plus, we're doing exclusive lines every season. So be sure to check out the .com and
always
show some love.
Shit. Yeah, definitely.
Havoc the Addict says Late Street, baby.
Shout out Havoc the Addict. That is our that's our filmographer actually. He's the one who shoots all of our music videos.
Yeah,
shout out Havoc the Addict.
He's gonna be coming on town, aka he's coming on tour with us. So
that's right. I mean, on the hush, Havoc might be hitting this tour with us too. We getting him on there. We getting him on there.
Oh yeah, bro.
Oh yeah.
Dope.
All right, so you guys got the tour going on. Are you promoting a new album, or what do you guys got going on the music?
So this is where it gets really exciting for us, actually. We've been making music for about 10 years, solid. Taking it real serious the past couple years. This will be our first project that, I could say front to back, we put our heart and soul into, and have really thought it down to the every last detail. Shout out Amy. Yes, it would be super dope to see us in Tulsa, and we hope to be there. After this podcast, we can talk some business, and we'll get down there for sure. But yeah, so these tours, we're calling it the Trilogy Series, overall the Intersection. And so Lake Street, the Intersection, I'm sure that pun's pretty self-explanatory there. So what it is it's a plateau, and the It's kind of based on a loose metaphor of Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. I don't know if you guys remember that poetry book.
There's the book right there to show them.
Oh yeah, well shit, we'll just put it up. All right, yeah,
we got that shit. Bam.
So
based off of
that right there, Where the Sidewalk Ends. That cover of that book and the theme of it is kind of the base of this. And I mean, look up Lake Street anywhere, our pages, you'll see the artwork. It's there. So that we're really excited about it. We got the first album that's dropping after we get back from tour, looking like August, and that'll be Ethan's solo album, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the start of the cliff at one edge of it. And then from his album, it's going to lead into The Intersection, which is the Late Street album, our group project. And then from there, we got James Tyler and myself, the end of the Where the Street Ends, the end of the album trilogy series. And so it's 3 albums that tell one long story that give a chance to have Ethan Kane as a solo entity, James as a solo entity, and then Late Street together. And we managed to do it in one big story. And the artwork itself is really cool because that tells its story, and it's got so many little Easter eggs and details.
Yeah,
and
there's just so much. Shout out Seth for that too. For
yeah,
real.
Seth Huggins is a hell of an artist, and he helped us out with a lot of the art on this. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And check out the YouTube channel. You'll see a video labeled the Trilogy Series where we kind of have like a 4-minute video. We sit down and we explain everything to you, the entire kind of plan, everything that's going to come along with it as far as gear, promotions, and this tour that we're talking about right now. So yeah, check it out.
For sure, man. That's what's up. So, all right. So you got this new album coming out. And it's based on that book, and then you got the tour coming. So, what would you guys say about Des Moines, Iowa's music scene?
I'd say
it's popping.
It's popping these days. Yeah. And like I was saying a little bit before we started here, the most beautiful thing to me is the unity that I've seen the past year in Des Moines compared to, all the years we've been doing it. It used to be kind of a dog eat dog world in this local hip hop shit. It was fuck everybody, we're out for ourselves, and I'm not teaching no tricks of the trades, that kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
But now it's so unified, and seeing all of us come together, and working with Lolo and Doozy and True Eddie and GFG and Snake Lucci and just the whole scene.
Lord,
I know I'm forgetting people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The entire Kyle, everybody. The entire scene in Des Moines is popping.
It's flourishing right now. Pretty heavy.
Really a lot of dope artists out there right now. And so it's cool to have so many talented people at the shows and just to see everybody's hustle and everybody grinding. Like
everyone's got their own image and campaigns that they push into on such a similar level. Like it's dope.
It's dope, man.
It's dope. It's beautiful.
It sounds a lot like Tulsa right now.
Yeah,
like Tulsa's really unified definitely I'd say over like the past year, just in comparison to before. We had a lot of division going on over the years. I'm not going to say it's some parts of that don't still exist, but it's very minimal compared to what it was.
Right.
And I remember having an artist, a friend of mine, he was on tour, and then he did a show of mine, and he got invited to do another show. And then he told me where it was and who was on it. I was like, man, I just all due respect, but I'm just like, I'm not real liked over there. Like, they don't really like me. And he goes, why? Do you guys have beef? He's like, no, they've made it clear they don't like me. We've never met. I think it's just one person told another person, hey, it's not cool to like these guys.
He said, she said bullshit.
Yeah. And then he looked at me and he's like, man, that's really bad that you guys are kind of like divided here. And I just said, man, I've always been about the unity stuff. So, some people just have different minds. Really I think one of the issues that we had in the longest run here was, I think a lot of it was the mentality of keeping quality control, which I am for, but on the same token, music's subjective. So what we think is good, someone else is probably not going to like, and what someone that we think is whack, everyone else is like, well, that actually kind of appeals to them. So
I think my bad.
I always kind of kept it. Oh, you're good, bro. I just always kept an open mind, and I always like diversity. Like if you like when you guys come to Tulsa, you'll see the lineup. You'll I can't really say because I haven't booked the show yet, but on general, you'll have some people that'll do stoner rap, horrorcore, 90s boom bap style, trap,
absolutely, yeah.
A lot of a lot more lyricism now.
Definitely.
So my catalog is pretty diverse, and so hip hop has so many subgenres.
No, and I feel going back to what you were saying about
showcased.
Well, no, and going back to
Yeah.
the quality control thing, I think, because I would dealt with it for a long time, and I think a lot of it, quality control versus ego,
Yeah.
more or less is really what it is. If your idea of, well, we just got to control it with people who are taking it serious or the sounds on point, it's really, that's just the ego talking anyway. Because like you said, it's subjective. What we think is one level of quality is someone's hot as shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then Freitas, I always kind of wonder where he kind of put himself. He kind of considers himself grunge rap, and he's cool because what Freitas does, and he's a really good standout, and he comes to our open mic a lot. Is he plays guitar, and then he has like a whole like board of different like loops, like drum loops and samples, and then he raps, and then he'll do a cipher, and so. Which he does kind of like a Too Short cover, but he kind of adds his own like riff and solo to it, and then
that's dope.
And we did one last night at open mic, and it's always been crazy. So stuff like that, and you know what I mean. And then even in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, 2 hours away, but are real like Cheyenne Davis and Patch Flowers and Moody Acid, just a few other friends down there, like. We've gotten real kind of like connected, like I'll bring them to Tulsa, so I would say the unity is definitely grown. And I think one thing that helps is having so much diversity, because it's just for not just for us, but for the actual fans that come to the show. They don't feel like I had someone said, it's cool to come to she uses terminology, it's cool to come to a rap show and not everybody sounds the same.
No, and that's in my opinion, that's how it should be. And coming from us we're no stranger to it. We actually came up. My first 10 to 20 rap shows were with punk bands and metal bands. I was the only rapper.
Me too.
Shit, so it's like being that in that diverse crowd is something that we actually, it's kind of what Late Street is known for during our live shows, is able to take the energy and make it feel like maybe you're not even watching rappers anymore, but then the next song after that will take you like maybe you're cruising, smoking a blunt with your homies on the vibe, you know,
chilling.
Yeah.
So being able to do that
off the fucking cliff with me, real quick.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, see, I come from a. Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say we had somebody actually. I got off the stage once at Lefties actually, and
this is awesome.
He says, man, I really love y'all. I've never wanted to go like hug my wife and tell her how much I care about her, and then go rob a bank the next 2 minutes later. Like I've never just been shifted from one extreme to another, but I got that just listening to y'all's set, and I'm like, I've never been told something like that before. I'll take that energy shift. You know what I mean?
Don't rob a bank.
Don't go do that. Just stay here at the show.
Late Street did not make you do that.
Yeah, Late Street made me do it.
Well, like I was saying, I'm from a metal background as well, and so there's a lot of that I kind of bring here, because and for shows, like we usually have my DJ and his wife. A lot of times they will DJ together, like one will DJ for one act, and they'll go back and forth, and they got a whole light set up. So our hip hop shows kind of feel like EDM raves in a way.
Well, that's cool.
And that's been kind of another element that we've
right now, and that shit's hot. Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
gangster rap made me do it. Yeah. Having to give him that hybrid feel. That's right, bro. Yeah. I appreciate you guys tuning in too, commenting with us, and staying in this conversation. That's what's up.
Definitely.
Hell yeah, man. Any kind of information you guys want to put out there, just to kind of get people familiar with you that might not know you?
Find us everywhere at Too Late Street. We got that written down there. We do this for the nerds, overthinkers, outcasts, and the believers, man. We got a movement here that we feel so passionately about. We eat, breathe, and sleep this shit, and all we do is get on the mic and speak our life. So
Definitely.
if you enjoy it, then you must be one and the same, or cut from a similar cloth, because all we do is speak it how it is, man.
It's like we don't necessarily sound like anybody, but we definitely sound like us, and we just, like you said, speak our story and tell our life how it is and what we're going through right now, what we've been through, and hopefully where we're about to be on that new fucking McLaren, fucking chilling.
Hey, that'll make sense once the trilogy drops.
This is shit. Fuck, we spit our shit. We got mad bars, fucking a lot of production. I'm trying to get a lot more into some rock shit with the rap production, but I want to record my own guitars to it and shit.
Which we're getting there. We're mastering the process.
Yeah,
It's been a long road, but we're getting there for sure. Bottom line is, man, is we just do it for the love of it, and hip hop's not dead, man. And we support anybody to come through and just vibe with us and take this ride on Lake Street with us.
Yeah,
Havoc, can you spit something for us?
Put on the spot.
Man, we ain't out here for that, Havoc. We ain't out here for that.
You should just come over, man.
You know where the studio's at. Yeah. No, man, we won't fill the time with that. They can go look it up.
All right, huh? So anyway, you guys have a clothing line, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What got you? Well, I mean, anyone who can start a clothing line definitely should. But where did that start off at?
Well, it started with just wanting to have band tees. To be honest, we just wanted shirts for the band,
and then it got bigger than that. And then it became its own identity and its own thing.
It started making way more than the music was making. So at that point, it was just, I mean, it's follow that trail, and if people want it, then let's keep giving it. It's like this: we made the first run, and it sold out in 3 days. We sold out I don't know how many we did, like maybe 100 garments sold out in 3 days. Way quicker than we thought it was going on our first release.
We were like, we're gonna have some for the shows, and then we didn't even get any for the show. Like, it's like we had to make another order for the show.
We did another order, and then that sold out in a week. And then we did an exclusive run of our Newport Lake Street series, and that was a really cool pack series we did. And so we did 50 of those, and that sold out in about 24 hours. And
I'm about to go find it. I'm gonna go show you the shirt.
It's really just we seen it making its own way, like he said. And actually this year our goal is to kind of re-hub Deuce Block as its own entity. Like I said, it started with just Lake Street gear. Now that we got the domain and we're gonna give new hubs and everything, that was the Lake Street exclusive pack series right there. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, it really just kind of took the wheel of its own, and we decided to keep molding it and going with it. We're both passionate about creating. We were graffiti artists growing up, and so any kind of art and design that we can get into is right up our alley either way. And I mean, to be honest with you, in today's era of music and the way that the industry works and how marketing works, we kind of took on the mindset that it's like this music is pretty much just a commercial for your brand.
Right.
At the end of the day, the music's not going to make you a ton of money. Streams aren't doing shit for revenue, and so that being the case, when it's all such small change, I mean, we just kind of switched the gears and said, well, this music's pretty much a commercial now for this clothing line that we have, and in a broad way of speaking.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty much the origin of that, and it's still in its growing stages. To be honest with you, we hope to see it do even more by the end of this year, and
hopefully you fucking triple those numbers.
We'll see where it goes. Yeah,
incredible.
Mm-hmm. I tell all artists that I said merchandise has been where most of my revenue has come through, and it saved me on some pretty rough road trips and tours.
Oh, if you're not going to shows and selling merch, I mean, you're kind of fucking up.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much potential. There's so much potential traffic, and it's kind of cool. I'm sure this has happened to you guys, where you end up selling merch before you even go on by someone that's probably never even heard or seen you before.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the power of the brand, the logo. Like just a good T-shirt design. Like they probably didn't even know that you're even performing. They feel like this is just a little
it's just a dope clothing line.
Flea market, like a flea market table just happens to be at a venue. So
right, and it's like even down to how we do set up our display.
Mm-hmm.
We have a street sign that says Deuce Block on Lake Street. It's an actual street sign.
Nice.
we make it look fucking as official as we possibly can, and they see it and they're like, wow. And that's by the end of the time, once they see us play, then they come back and they're like, what the fuck?
Let me get a hat now.
yeah. They're like, and would you sign this?
But no, and the cool thing is too is how you market it, knowing that it's based and fueled off music in a heavy sense. Is putting our logo on the back of everything is so important, because I'll tell you what, when we're at a show, and we got all our people there and everyone who rides on Lake Street with us, to be at the back of the venue and see everybody at the front of the stage, but you just see this ocean of Lake Street logos
in the back. Oh man,
I'll tell you what, as just an artist, and like, let me just be, whatever about it. Like that's just a good feeling when you're like, these people are here to see you and vibe with you right now, and just like that's
all here right now.
It's powerful, you know what I mean? That's powerful.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So we'll jump into just some like tips and trades, like advice. I I like to throw in the podcast whenever we can. So for any young and up and coming, don't always have to be young, but up and coming artists who need a little advice on kind of maybe on the business tip or at least on the marketing tip or just anything past the music. Like the music's made,
Right.
What do they do next? Let's talk about. Yeah, I was actually going to say that.
Yeah, just your network.
How do you advise like networking? Just your personal opinion. Like, what's worked for you guys?
So with me, it's either like I've either reached out to somebody personally, and made contact with them, being like, I vibe what you're doing. I think you're fucking really working hard, and I appreciate everything you got going on for your scene.
Just making the acquaintance.
Yeah, make an acquaintance and then grow that connection even further and further. Also, when I'm playing shows with these people, I'm a very genuine motherfucker. So I will literally come up and just, we'll fucking, by the end of the night, we'll be drinking, having a great time.
And say just keeping everything organic as far as trying. Like, if you're gonna go and reach out to somebody like you're saying, you should, but make sure it's organic. Don't come at them like you just want something from them. You gotta make sure everything's organic. And if you're just trying to get something, maybe you just hold back and get your own eggs in a basket first. But and going off the shows, I mean, beyond the shows that we play, just going to shows to support. Being there at these shows that are happening at your local venues and just showing face and shaking those hands and meeting those people. Very, very important.
At the shows, just meeting all the people you can at the shows, whether they're, like you said, whether they're playing or not, whether you're playing or not, just going out and meeting these people and exposing them to your brand and who you are and what you're about, and then giving them your music and showing them that and taking them to your links or your websites and everything like that. That the word of mouth, in my opinion, is one of the best things you can do.
Social media, strongest tool.
Yeah, social media is a key thing. We use it every single day, but still, it's like to have my homies even today hit us up on the podcast tonight. It's like word of mouth is that thing, and the brand speaks for itself.
And I'll touch a little bit off networking too with tour hacking, which we've been implementing as of recent, very recent. And I mean, tour hacking can go as far as literal. So it's like, say, fucking say MGK is coming through Des Moines, right? And we just go out to the line that's waiting outside and we just talk to everybody in that fucking line and just, introduce them to us, introduce them to Lake Street, give them some stickers, give them, a couple business cards or something, just kind of hack the fan base that's somewhat relevant to who you're trying to reach in a sense.
Same demographic.
During COVID, you couldn't really do that because there wasn't no shows. So we started learning about tour hacking virtually, which is the same concept, but through your social media hubs. Those followers who follow these acts that maybe fit the realm of your music or whatever the case may be, there, whoever that artist is getting into their followers or getting to their engaged post and reach out to them on your own tip and just kind of tour hack your way into that fan base. Operating in rural communities. I mean, that's the runaround of where we're at right now.
That is the online is what you do when you're a rural community.
Exactly. Online's your best friend there.
And then grow it out to the biggest capital around you, which is Des Moines here. It's like
And and going off, okay, so it's like this, right? You're in a town of 20,000 people, right? Who's the 5 most popular women in your high school who get all the likes on their posts and shit, right? You hit up them and maybe offer them like, hey, if I give you, $50, $75, $100 and you put like 2 or 3 selfies on your Instagram and Facebook and TikTok rocking my merchandise or something or playing my song, that's some clout that you can get or some network you can get just off like reaching out to the popular fucking people of your little community. Like it's small potatoes, but also, I mean, what can you do if you can't get online or reach the masses, or at least you don't have the budget to get on those ad campaigns to do so? Then start with those popular people in your community. Start with those local artists, or whether it's music artist or visual artist or whatever the case may be, dancing or whatever. Try to collaborate.
Girls,
OnlyFans women can make the numbers go up. We got a lot of merch sales off some OnlyFans girls promoting our shit. So I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
nice. I had a friend who had an idea. So he just like, no, because I have a real diverse like merch game. Like, other than t-shirts, I've got like beer mugs, coffee mugs, shot glasses. I've sold girls booty shorts, which I actually sold out of, tank tops, which I'm working on getting more of. But I had a friend that said, why don't you just he goes, I know girls, like, why don't you like had enough or have these girls on their OnlyFans like sport your stuff and then sell it, and then you give them a commission.
Yeah, it's a
so I was
similar
like,
thing that we've done.
I sat down. I was like, oh, it's not a bad idea. So
No,
like
with that,
it's a real
even
idea.
promo codes. We actually offered one of the women to promote a promo code based on her entity and her OnlyFans, so that everyone who came and subscribed to her OnlyFans also got a 25% off discount to the .com, and she got hooked up, you know, in the return of that. So yeah, I mean, shit. These day and ages, you got to get creative, man.
Yeah,
online goes so many ways.
With the bike. Wow.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, shit. It's just no one's got the right answer. You just got to keep trying everything until you find out what works. It's the best advice I got.
Constantly grinding and constantly stay innovative, because the online shit is constantly growing
and it's constantly changing. Yeah,
it's changing.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep doing it. You got to keep trying everything. Don't ever stop. If you're unsure about what you're doing, then really think about it and just keep pushing on something. Lay a brick a day.
Lay a brick a day.
Yeah, that's for sure. So how'd you guys build up as far as touring? I mean, that involves a lot of networking.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, if there's more to that question, go ahead before I start.
Oh no, just here, let me get to Doozy's question first. How'd you set up a merch website?
Okay, so there's a few different ways to go about it. Obviously, a domain name, domain space, you got to pay for that. That's kind of first and foremost. There's a few different outlets. I mean, Wix, Shopify, Squarespace. There's a handful of good networks to go through. We use Shopify is what we use right now, and we pay a fair price for it. Shipping, we take care of everything in house. So as far as shipping, packaging, I actually print everything myself as well. So I mean, the more in-house you can be, the better. As far as setting up the merch website, it's pick a domain space, have the money to pay for it. It is not free, or it's not a one-time payment. You have to continuously pay for it. You can do monthly or annually. And then, man, just make sure that shit's as professional as you can. What we did is we made sure we had all the logos and everything for the theme of the layout, the design set up before we even launched the website.
Yeah.
Just taking your time with it and making sure you're doing it right, because I mean, quality stands out over quantity any day of the week for sure.
Definitely.
What's your opinion on the third party print by demand websites?
I've used them and I think they're trash.
Yeah, I've used them.
If it's your only means, if your community doesn't have a print shop or someone you can plug in with, then go ahead, do what you have to do. Custom ink was probably the best one I did find for a third party like that. Either way though, they're still super limited, and the proof that you can get is very vague, so you really don't know what you're getting.
Garment quality, you don't know what you're getting until you see the garment in front of you and touch it.
That's always been my concern. When my label had started, we were printing, we had merch for like the whole roster.
Right.
And we had it on the website, and then I always had that same link on my website, which I just recently got a whole new website rebuilt, and my merch store is the last thing that I actually need to get going. But the reason why I've been in a bind is because I'm picking, hey, do I just sell my physical merchandise? Or because when I think about the print by demand, I'm thinking like, hey, I don't have to worry about inventories. So if I blow up or I start getting a lot of orders from other fans and states, hey, I don't have to worry about printing. It's being done. But I'm saying, like, but what's the quality looking like? How do can I trust them to print? What if I don't want fans thinking they pay this money plus shipping, and then they get it and it looks shitty? You know what I mean?
Well, not only that, but they're printed by demand. So by the time they get the order, you're looking at 3 days past that shipping time anyway. That was judged to be. And not only that, but when you're doing that third party that way, is you're going to end up paying that third party a flat rate for them to do all that shipping and handling and host those orders as they come in and host that domain space for you. The place I work out of, actually, that I print the shirts at, they offer that service, and we actually passed up on it because you got to look at it like this. Yeah, you could maybe sell a lot and it's worth your time and money, and then you don't have to worry about any of that extra stress. But if you don't sell a lot, then you're paying them $800 to $1,000 to host all that extra shit for you. and let's say maybe you sell 50 garments, you didn't even cover the cost for that 3-month quarterly payment, you know. And so you got to be careful of that kind of shit too.
I also noticed like when we were just doing physical, and we were shipping actual physical, inventory. We did very well. When we discovered the whole third party, I think it was Manic merch, and so we tried that and thinking, okay, that can save us a lot of work, and we really didn't get many sales. I think I know one person that may have ordered it, and I noticed it, and I think it was more of, and people were I think people got kind of confused as like, oh, well, can I get that hoodie at the show? I was like, oh, no, you can only get it on the website. So now there's all this merch that they can only get online. They can't get at the show.
See, or that sucks too, because we keep everything both ends. If you get it on website, you get it on the show for sure too.
Right. Yeah. That's why it's like, if you're gonna run a web store, you might want to just hold it, hold that stuff, because you're always going to be traveling, and you don't want. You're going to sell more in person at your show than you are regularly.
Well, and nowadays,
online.
And you're right. And nowadays, for that instance, that exact circumstance you're talking about, Instagram offers you to turn your Instagram into a kind of a .com space or a merchandise sales space. So I mean, nowadays you can use Instagram as your handle for selling physical merch as well, though you'd be doing it all yourself, back to the shipping and handling and all that.
Yeah. And Amy makes a good point. People like to buy merch at shows, especially t-shirts. You definitely need physical shirts for people to buy. And that's my girl, Amy. She actually runs my merch. She does a lot of my inventory. She actually keeps track of the inventory. And she does
Shout out Amy. Shout out Amy.
Yeah. That's a little advice. We won't go too deep into it, but I will definitely tell any artists that if they wonder about if they should stay single or have a significant other, if that takes away from the music, only if you're dating the wrong one. Well,
exactly.
I've seen some talented guys go downhill and to a point where they don't do music, and then you got guys like me who are going even harder because you got like support and assistance. You got
that down ass help, right?
Down ass queen. So that doesn't get talked about as much, but I figure it's always helpful to. But no, I tell guys all the time, guys, women, everybody, like, you date the wrong person. It might cost you your future as an artist, because it could drag you away from that.
Shout out Chelsea real quick.
Hey.
Chelsea's a shit. She's been a day one supporter over here on Lake Street.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Chelsea.
Now we have another question up here. Physical merch for sure sales. Cool. I'm glad to hear that from you guys. So now I can get going to get that merch shop back up. But I've always sold more. Actually, to tell you the truth, when it comes through shipping and doing merch sales through the internet, I've always sold the most from people just messaging me like, hey, I do think a shop helps, especially as you grow and you get a bigger fan base, and people know they could go and buy your shit. But especially as we tend to really make the whole independent music a big thing, and that whole like just networking, not just with other artists, but with your fan base. Definitely people appreciate the fact they can just message you and then just cash app you 20, 25, whatever you're selling.
No, absolutely. That's why I mentioned, and that's why I mentioned the Instagram there for sure, because I feel what you're saying. A lot lot of those online merch sales do come from just personal interactions.
Yeah, just the homies being like, "What's up? I need a hoodie." I'm like, "Gotcha, bro."
In that case, if it's local, I just tell them, "Shit, swing through." We don't even got to deal with the online transaction.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll say, someone's like, "Hey, I want to get a couple of your albums." Sell, regardless of what people say. They say that streaming kind of killed the CD. Not really, because now people are starting to see the burden that we kind of get. Like, I mean, granted, with streaming, we get paid every time someone hears it, but it's not a lot. So pennies. People still, I don't know how many people really have CD players. Maybe. But there's definitely a lot of old school minded people that still buy CDs. If anything,
we sell CDs at our shows to this day still, for that simple fact that there's people out there who want them. And when we stopped selling them, we thought this is pointless now. we actually got demanded.
We got
to
like bombarded
have them,
back.
You
Like,
know,
Yeah.
like, you guys don't have CDs. Why not? Well, fuck, we might as well bring them back, huh? So
Yeah,
and that's
we make sure of it.
That's like what this album is actually about as well. Like these full albums,
to give them a piece of art again with
yeah,
that
like,
jewel
and you know,
case.
you don't have to fucking. I hope that you don't skip a single song because it's gonna tell you a fucking story the whole on each of these albums.
Exactly.
And as you listen, you can look at the album covers, and like I said, those Easter eggs that I was talking about before, you'll be able to like
put the
topics,
pieces of each person together, you know, and
Yeah.
put the puzzles together and what's actually going on through the story of this masterpiece. It's pretty crazy, man.
and then getting back into vinyls, going back into vinyls.
We will
is
have
worth the
vinyls
time.
made of this shit. You know,
It's important.
I'm big into vinyl. I have a huge vinyl collection.
Yeah, I do too. Actually, I have a record player back there, and yeah, I'm definitely a vinyl collector myself. That's actually something I'm trying to do for the next album. I definitely want to, you know, do more. You know, we talk about diversity, but definitely diversity in a way to hear the actual music itself. So,
yeah, and we're even thinking about actually taking this whole project to an NFT level as well. I'm not going to say too much on that right now because it's in the very early stages of development. Also, there's some tactics that I just don't want to put out there because not everybody's using NFT in this way yet. And so this is where that ego and selfishness comes into the scene, though, where it's like, I don't want to let the scene know
a little different
that this is what's happening over here on the NFT level. So, and it's not because I won't share it eventually. I just want it to be original when it comes, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
we're excited about that too. You got to keep, you got to keep it very well versatile on all levels these days.
Yeah. So here's another one. This actually changes the subject, but this is actually a very good question by Havoc, the Addict. How important is having an EPK?
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, it matters on what level you're at in this. It's completely pointless on a local level. I do believe it's pointless on a local level. Not saying it's not good to have and doesn't look good when you're talking to a promoter for the first time or reaching out to a booking agency to throw them an EPK or you know what that is an electronic press kit. First of all, is what that stands for.
Right.
So it's a press kit in electronic form. And why I make this separation though is simple is because on a local level you can reach out to a promoter who books your local bar and just have a conversation and get the job done. It's probably going to be more effective.
Right.
We've developed an EPK because, for instance, with you, Brandon, we wanted to reach out and start doing this promo run with these podcasts and kind of go above and beyond our local reach. And we thought it was important to have some background to look to, some references to look to, and to kind of see the history of what we've done and what we're planning to do. And so where it's really, really important, though, is when you're trying to take it to the next level and you want to start reaching out for maybe artist development programs, or you want to start taking your business to maybe some bigger names that are actually way beyond what you would think is your reach where we're at here in the Midwest. But what way are you going to reach out to them than the capabilities that you have? Best way, most professional way we thought would be a press kit.
Right.
So we looked into it. We found, a couple hubs that helped us kind of build some layouts on it. And even that's kind of still a work in the progress for us. There's a few things we have yet to get to on it. Some things we would like to update. But yeah, it's important when you're really trying to take it to the next level and kind of stand out.
Yeah, if you're a very serious artist and you're trying to really break through and like he said, reach out to someone for artist development or a record deal or whatever really is your interest in pushing this music. That's the way you want to go about trying to represent it and put it into a nice little package and presented it the best way you possibly can with all your links, all your plays, your streams, everything is right there. And so it's
pretty much a resume.
Yeah, exactly. It's your resume.
Yeah.
It's putting it all out there.
What's your guys' opinion on like Linktree? Do you think that makes for a good EPK? Do you think that's like kind of the?
Well, we all kind of have a Linktree.
I use a Linktree for Late Street and James Tyler, and he does his Ethan Kane as well. And I only actually use that for TikTok and Instagram. It's to me, Linktree is a good handle for your social media abouts or links. So like instead of giving them, all these separate links in your channels and most of them get lost in the fucking down section of it. You get that Linktree. We only use it as like say we got a pre-save link we're promoting, there's a new single coming out, that's always at the top of the Linktree. So we're constantly editing the Linktree, but other than that, below it, it's just where you find us on every single platform, but on one link.
Yeah, I
don't think that stands equivalent to an EPK because an EPK allows you so much more space. So I mean, it gives you, here's a category for any vlog, blog, or news article or radio station that's wrote about you, spoke about you, or
just your media.
For instance, this vlog right here that we're doing with you will go into our press section of the press kit. And then I mean we were able to put all of our music videos and just do a quick playlist right there on the EPK. We can give you a whole blueprint of our either whether we want a biography or something we're pitching or whatever that case may be. We can write that out here. There's literally a calendar of all the shows we've played that are marked within the the Sonic Biz or just into the database, if you will.
What's it called? What company is it?
It's slipping me right now, but
it's like the Everbyte fucking.
It's something, yeah. Eventbrite. Basically, any show we play that's been an official show that we've been able to log into that database, it allows us to put that into the calendar and then give those reference numbers and all that shit that verifies it more or less. So anything that exists on this EPK that if you give it to someone, they know that these are verified sources and real events that did happen when it comes to that. And so a link tree is not going to be able to give you that kind of availability of shit you want to put out there. You know what I mean? So that's how I would separate the importance of it.
Oh yeah. Totally makes sense. But yeah, I would tell everybody like have an EPK definitely for festivals. If you try to like,
absolutely,
because good point. They'll always ask for one.
Yeah, like South by Southwest, like they needed that for the application.
Any festival, yeah. That's exactly where we learned about the EPK. Is the first time we reached out to South by Southwest. It kind of was like, oh, well, what the fuck's that? Let's go look that up. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's where it starts for everybody. So don't be afraid to fucking Google and do your research and learn, man.
Shit, you never know until you know, and then once you know, you can never unknow it.
There's power in knowledge for sure.
Right. All right. So, well, I feel like I hit my max of questions. If anybody has any questions, drop them in the comments, and we'll definitely get those answered. I'm trying to think of what else I would like to tap on to some kind of other tips that I haven't touched because I feel like I've touched on every last one of them on this podcast.
I think we were gonna kind of talk about touring, but we never really got to it yet.
Yeah, we were.
We did. Did we? What are you talking about? Like off the cliff touring?
No, just kind of like not about our touring, just like tips for how we started to go about touring and shit like that.
Oh yeah, you did bring that up. We didn't really touch on it.
Yeah,
right.
How
that came into place and how we grew.
Yeah, I was thinking.
We lost
building something locally. Oh yeah, that's the shitty thing about live streaming. Sometimes there's a lag.
Well, yeah, no, what you're saying? No, I just didn't want to miss the question there.
You're good, man. I was just asking on your guys' end, building what you have locally, and then saying, all right, it's time to hit the road. It's time to hit other markets. Obviously, you guys were already good at networking. What was your plan to find out? Okay, who do I know in Minneapolis, Omaha, Texas?
Yeah, go ahead. Just make sure we shout out ATM on a lot of that.
Well, ATM, and really it was Snake Lucci, man. Snake Lucci was the man right there. He was the one who introduced us to Aaron, said, look at him, he can help you out. And then really him as well. Snake put us on to a little run, a little stretch of some tour dates that Aaron did, and with all of us in the Dark Sessions tour, and that was kind of our first little jump into some tour stuff, and it was super 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 fun. And we're like, all right, we had the idea that we were gonna already do our own tour. We've been playing shows for a long time, and it's kind of always been our dream, our goal. Once you hit that tour, you can kind of start seeing where you're at, what you're gonna do, developing yourself even more and even more. And just your crowd connection and everything.
And I think a lot of it, why we chose where we did, and worked with Aaron the way we did, was because of the demographic that we've seen, the analytics that we've seen off of our streams. So our streaming services and our platforms, we look into those analytics that it gives us. We can kind of create somewhat of a demographic, or at least where they exist, off them numbers. So the spots we chose, we're definitely Midwest oriented for sure. We get some streams. If our streams are heavy anywhere else, it's actually overseas. For some reason, Germany and Egypt and the Netherlands, we get some streams for some fucking reason, quite a bit. But otherwise, it's in the Midwest. So we chose these hubs because we have these listeners. So basically, knowing that, we're going to then go into this being the release. Now we have some campaigns we're going to be launching in every single one of these cities for about 30 days in advance, hyping up the shows and, you know what I'm saying, making sure the campaign's dead set on that end.
Definitely.
So really it's kind of, we know that this tour there's no hub besides Des Moines and Lefties that are for sure spots we know we have a fan base in. A lot of it is just getting out there for the first time and making our name aware in the Midwest, something in somewhere we're going to be for quite some time now and continue and our plan to be more or less. So it's like, might as well get familiar and stay familiar with them and start popping off with these venues.
Right on. Also, something that kind of helped me was
very important Havoc.
Oh yeah, how important is critique as well as praise, especially when on tour.
I think the critique is tenfold more important than the praise. I can get praise all day in my own head. I can suck my own dick all fucking day, dude. I think I'm the shit. You know what I'm saying? But what's that do? So I would much rather hear critique. I'd much rather have people tell me, you know, what I could work on or what they've seen that maybe hit them a little off. Shit, challenge me. I don't know. You know what I mean?
And I'm always down for like what's gonna make our show and our presentation to our music even better.
See, people even tell us sometimes, not even like, I don't even think they mean it as a bad way, but they say you can tell who's who and where the energy lies in different ways. And it's not even a bad thing the way they're saying it, but we see it as, well, we need to make that come together.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that's something to work on. So
and it's not, it's just because they'll be like, oh, well, Ethan, you were really getting it that night, man. You really went off. And I'll be like, well, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's James. You're so serious, man. When you looked me in the eye, I got really uncomfortable because it was so serious. But yeah, no, it's always something to work on. And I think even if you're praising us, half the time we're the type of dudes that kind of brush it off and not let it boost the head up any way, shape, or form, and just get right back to, okay, like what can I take from it on to work on? You know?
Like what did we notice that we think we should do better?
Me and this dude get on each other's asses on drive home. It's like, man, we should have been on this. We should have been on that.
Straight up. Then get home, watch the footage, and be like, oh man, that was tight. What were we talking about?
Tripping.
Tripping for no reason.
But no, so it's more or less just, this is a chase, man. We threw a dart. We threw a dart at some cities based on some analytics, and you know, we're gonna try to build some hubs outside of our hometown.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's cool. One of my favorite parts of touring is coming to other cities and having friends there. You know, a lot of times make a lot of friends with the local artists in those cities, and then their friends, and then the fans you've made there. And it's just kind of like, all right, the city we're going to tomorrow, we're like, oh hell yeah, I get to hang out with so and so, and and that's always good because I tell everybody, man, nothing's more. I always make the best out of uncomfortable feelings, but it is kind of hard when you go somewhere and you don't know anybody. You're like
sitting there like,
I don't think it's hard. In fact, I actually I love exactly what you're talking about, but I also really love going to a place that we've never been before. We don't know anybody.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite things.
Making
the
new beginnings.
That impression is so fun to make for the first time.
It's I definitely like performing in front of a crowd of strangers and kind of, but I definitely enjoy when I have at least one artist there that I know, or at least a promoter or somebody.
And they know some shit.
But I've definitely embraced when I literally don't know anybody in the whole room, and so.
And to be honest, I don't know if we've ever played a show where we didn't know anybody down to the next.
Very rare.
That is very rare.
I think
we'll be there, but
the last time was Columbia, Missouri, and I ended up making friends with one of the artists. I think another one just came up and asked me for my Instagram, and then he disappeared.
You get that.
I didn't even get his name.
That was probably me. No,
that's this guy.
He's like, "What's your IG handle?" I went, "Had enough 918." He's like, "Cool," and then walks off. I'm like,
"Pete,
I get your name." So,
is it Sean?
Yeah, but that's good networking though. So. I just kind of wish I got his name too. So it was kind of random, but no, I ended up making friends with, I think it was 2 artists, and then they ended up doing the show with me the next night in St. Louis. And so I came there knowing them. And then some other people I actually knew were actually at that show too.
Dope.
So yeah, I definitely, you can definitely, even in a room of strangers, you can turn that around.
What are some performance flaws you guys had to improve on? Well, going back to the dynamic of me and him together as 2 different artists, that's been a constant work since we decided to work together,
Yeah.
That's real shit. And we're still working on that today. shit. I mean, and personally, breath control has always been
the biggest thing. We try to spit with like absolutely no background, just our instrumental.
We never spit with vocals,
ever. Yeah. So breath control and presentation is everything.
So that took a lot of practice.
Yeah, and it's like for me, it's like
shit. We don't play certain. My bad. Real quick though, we don't even play certain songs based on our breath control on them songs.
Yeah, definitely. But it's like when it comes down to it, it's like I'll always try to have like a hook in these verses and things, and my singing background has always carried into how the dynamic of the Late Street songs work versus to how Tyler just spits on the track. And so that's always like a big factor to everything.
Me trying to harmonize with you is a big challenge for sure. So yeah, we definitely face a lot of flaws that we call and that we could definitely work on.
Oh no, that we did overcome.
Well, no, some of them are still shit. The melody, me trying to harmonize with you is something I work on so hard.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to sing, Ethan.
It's so hard, dude. This is more or less. It's like it's the on command thing because put me in a studio, of course I can get it out eventually. But like the on command, it's when we're in tune and we play. We're fucking 4 or 5, 6 shows deep in back to back. Now all of a sudden you got, I'm there with you.
Right.
What I mean?
Where it's at.
Every season when we get back into it, it's like, okay, all right,
come on, James.
Find the bearings again here. Yeah. So yeah, we definitely got them. You know what I mean? And shit, any artist who thinks they don't have them,
you just always
see where you're at in a year.
Yeah, like, even when it comes down to how we do our stage presence, it's like
having theatrics and just maybe a little bit of choreography,
right? And it's like our shit. That's how we would like to see our future show look versus where we're at now. Even
we get awkward when we practice. We over here like I said, choreograph type some shit, and it's like we be feeling cheesy as fuck, but it's important when you got a crowd.
My dog is just staring at us like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's
bro?
important. It's it's important, and you got to work on them kind of things. You really do. Stage presence and image is everything. I won't come to a show looking all bummy or not prepared to network and talk with people. You know what I mean?
Not ever.
You got to be ready. But yeah, dude, thank you for having us, man.
Yeah,
for
real. Definitely.
Sure. All right, we got a couple questions. Chelsea wants to know, what is your biggest goal you want to reach by the end of 2022?
To make Deuce Block Clothing a completely self-sustained business and 100% legitimate, and then to get everything that we just talked about, from these albums to this tour, these album releases, this trilogy series. I don't think we can stress enough how like big and focused this project has been. It's really a lot, and we plan
putting a lot into it. We've put a lot of our time, energy, ourselves into this thing,
and we plan to release in a very strategic manner, so the story relays and makes sense visually and represented the right way.
Right.
And within that, it's like that's kind of the main goal of the year, is to get all this accomplished and done the right way, the way that we see it and want it to happen. And if we can do that this year, then I'm stoked about it. We have some back end stuff we're working on with our newly brought on publisher, I guess you could call him, John Hansen, and he's helping us in the back end with some emails and reaching out, networking to some YouTube creators and content reviewers and stuff of that nature, TikTok stars, who are willing to put on your shit for a minute and just that kind of shit, because that's important as well. So that's kind of the goal by the end of the year too, is if we can lock in with 3 to 5 other creators who have 10 to 15 to 25,000 followers and build a fan base wherever they're located and whoever they're reaching on top of that as well. So yeah, if we can knock all that out for a year, shit, I'll be more than stoked.
Right, and have some good visuals. Havoc, where you at? Have some visuals. Obviously have the visuals telling the story. Where you at?
Do y'all dabble in different genres? Well, Ethan Kane over here.
Oh yeah,
we talked about a little bit earlier, working heavy on this subgenre stuff.
I'm half determined. I might release this little punk song on the album right now. I don't know.
It's looking like it. The way it sounded, it's looking like it.
Yeah, it's so fucking. It's so dope, man. Just one morning, it all came to me. Just bam.
All right, we got.
Yeah, go ahead. We're probably get to that time here.
yeah. I definitely want to hear this punk song. That's kind of that's another background I have, and so that's still kind of in me to this day. Failure Foretold, which is one of Tulsa's newest artists, who's one of my favorites. Thoughts on releasing singles versus an album?
So I tussle with this personally, and I've talked this off plenty of times, and which is why we also thought it was important to do these albums in the way that we're doing into NFT, physical, and just the visual art representation part.
The album is very important.
It's important, but we also know singles are just as important. Which
singles
why we could get away with this whole album series doing them all in singles, and it may or may not be more effective for sure. But we're gonna do 3 music videos for each album of the 3 albums, so that's 9 music videos to go along with them to kind of create like a short film in the sense, and that'll be the single part. So we're gonna have those singles to go and push as singles and make sure that we're covering those bases, because you may not hear the albums at all, but if you hear these singles that we push, then we did our job that way with the singles.
Definitely.
So that, yeah,
and even going back to that, it's like we constantly are dropping music and constantly dropping singles. So it's like
that's true. There always is singles dropping at least once a month for sure.
There's always something. There's always something. But the album is. We believe the album is still very important.
Yeah, yeah. Because to listen to an album front to back and what that can do for the soul of a human being, and what it's done for me in my life, and how it's saved my life in some ways, in a lot of ways.
How it's changed.
I can't not. That's why I do this hip hop, is to give that back somehow in some way if I can. And my way to do it is telling you a story. And the best way to do it, I can't do that in 2 16 verses and a hook. I just can't. So
you gotta,
giving me.
I need an album.
Yeah, I got it. We need albums.
Facts.
Yeah. I feel you. Well, anyway, man. I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up. So if you guys want to drop what you do have on here. So for social media, it's at Too Late Street.
And that's everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. TikTok to Twitter to Instagram to Spotify. And when it comes to music, just look up Lake Street. We're the only ones. So Google it. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
we appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. And is it a Deuce Block Clothing?
Yep, DeuceBlockClothing.com, and that's get some gear. We'll have it out to you within the week for sure. It's everything's in-house. We do everything ourselves, literally printed by me by hand and shipped out by us. So I mean, and I will say this real quick too, it is Lake Street. We are a group, but from Lake Street you can find our individual hubs as well. We not only dropping Lake Street singles all the time, but we're dropping Jamestown and Ethan Kane solo singles constantly as well. So
definitely.
Always a lot going on.
And thank you, said, great interview, a lot of dope inside. All right, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope somebody can take something from this.
Love, Doozy.
Yeah. And one of the main reasons I started putting in like insights, information, tips and advice was when I got started early on when I was in a band, and then when I got into hip hop as a solo artist. I got like zero help. Like even when I would reach out. I would reach, even in hip hop, like I would reach out to those who I saw, who I like real genuinely liked their music, liked what they're doing, and really just kind of shoot a message, just like, hey, how do I, what advice would you do? I even found out who was making beats. I would offer money, and in most cases, some of them they'd invite me into their home. They would make beats, but still, they kind of had a condescending attitude because I was the new guy,
For sure.
And a lot of times people were like, nah, man, like I just would not get anything. So I learned so much on my own. And I think about like how much more of a better plan I would have had in those days had I knew there was just, like a playbook, or at least I know there was a podcast I could go where I know what to do, what not to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
When we were coming up, no, absolutely. I see what you're doing, dude. I love it, man. When I reached out and you told me kind of what you were doing and what it was about, and I was like, absolutely, man. And you brought up the EPKs. I was like, for sure. I was like, we got a couple things, but I'd love to just come chop it up and talk shop.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's, I mean, like,
I know a lot of people can relate to that, where like when they first came up, like they had to figure everything out on their own. They made a ton of mistakes, and
the goose chase.
Yeah.
We felt like we were so late in the game, and still feel like we're so late in the game.
Late street for a reason.
Yeah, for real. Always late, but always on time.
Hell yeah, bro. Yeah. But that and even me, like I've figured out a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things I've made work for me, especially as far as like financial, as far as networking and building and making stuff happen. One last thing I will say, I definitely advise all artists to learn the business side as much as possible. And I think that's kind of something you guys obviously have done, and it's something I've done as well. And it's helpful because the one thing I feel a lot of artists struggle with is they always feel like the lack of success is personal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Never is. This game don't owe you shit, and it kind of you can't be taking it personal.
No, and I think a lot of it is like, but it's talent. Like, and I think we all agree. Like, I shared a meme last night. I think the next music trend should be talent, and I think we all agree with it. But at the same time, talent can still be subject. You know,
right?
It's still
absolutely
opinionated. You know,
it comes down to just because you're talented does not mean you are a good businessman, and does not mean that you'll make a good market, and does not mean that you're going to get your brand out there. And it's really about exposure.
That's what we were talking about when we said this music is nothing but a commercial for the brand.
How cool is
whether that
image?
Brand is merchandise or whether that brand is fitness or whatever the fuck that brand is. This hub of creation is really just an off branch to feel that. At the end of the day, that's sadly what it's become, because that's the business now. You know, you're so right. It's so important.
Yeah, I've also told artists, I said your audience will be a reflection of you. So because they relate to what you're saying as much as, like, they feel what you're saying as much as you feel writing it and saying it.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean? And honestly, like, I say that just out of just personal experience, because I look at some of the most like amazing fan comments that I'll get in comments and messages or just at a show.
It's oh man.
And they're like, you know what I mean? And they're like this, they're like me. They're either a big comic book fan, a big horror buff fan. They love 90s hip hop and strange music and rhyme sayer stuff. And they like Metallica and Slayer and Slip. Like they're like me. They like, and then they like, you know what I mean? So not like to the T, but it's just like, okay, and they say, hey, or they pick up on things. It's like, hey, I like that movie reference you did. I'm thinking, wow, I was waiting for I said a real like fanatic would have to pick up that little reference. So
no, and that's
so, you know what I mean?
I'll get those messages that, like, it's the ones that I get at like midnight, 2 a.m. and it's just someone being like, look, I was just listening to Household, and I just want to let you know, like, that was my motivation to fucking get through the next morning. That was my motivation to fucking, you know what I mean? And it's just that, and that's what I'm saying with Lake Street is we don't do nothing but write our life and our experience. So when we get that back to us, you know, the people who do fuck with us and take this ride with us, it does mean the most, because we know that they feel it, and they're living life just as raw as we fucking are.
Like, you know, if they feeling this, then they already know.
And they come to me with the songs that they do, and it's just like, holy shit. So if you feel that song, then like, hey, bro, I feel for you. I feel you, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's all right. We're good. Like, this life is something, but we're good. We're gonna get through it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just, it means a lot. Like, for everyone who fucks with Lake Street, like, just so you guys know, like, you guys mean the motherfucking world to us, and we keep going for you guys.
Yeah.
Man, for real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. But yeah, Lake Street. Definitely, guys, check them out.
Throw the L's. Woo.
Yeah. You guys got the handle, so look them up on all social media. They're definitely on the digital platforms. So
Shout out Had Enough, man. Shout out Had Enough. Brandon, thank you.
Thank you. All right, man. I'll go ahead and shut it down, and then I'll shoot you guys a message about coming to Tulsa.
Yeah, we'll chop it up, man.
Perfect, man.
Take care.
All right.
Thank you.